Europe's intense heatwave ignites wildfires. Many have died in extreme temperatures across the continent. A summer heatwave that has triggered devastating forest fires across southwest Europe shows no sign of abating on Sunday. Firefighters in France, Portugal, Spain and Greece are battling forest blazes, and new temperature records look to be on the way. The heat is thought to have claimed many lives, possibly hundreds. Our correspondent Bethany Bell sent this report from Malaga.
Wildfires are raging in Spain after days of intense heat. Firefighters battled the flames in Extremadura in the west of the country. In the south, near Malaga, a popular tourist area, at least 3,000 people have been evacuated from their homes. When we arrived, a new fire had just broken out in the woods. Overhead, helicopters carrying water returned again and again to try to put out the flames. Fires keep breaking out in these hills, and it's a real struggle for the firefighters to try and stop the blazes. The air is full of thick smoke, which stings your eyes and makes you want to cough, and it's very hot. On the road, we met Sharon, who's from England. She lives nearby with her daughter Valentina. Their home is safe, but they were out trying to round up pets and animals who were left behind when their owners fled.
Well, it's a place to help, see if anyone needs any help evacuating, especially the animals. A lot of animals get left behind.
Have you ever felt frightened?
Frightened, yes. When we first saw the fire yesterday, because we thought it was coming to our house, and we were just shaking, petrified, because we have a lot of animals in our house as well, and we just thought, oh no, we've got to evacuate them. What are we going to do with the horse? 2 horses, a sheep, dogs. We were very frightened.
With the hot weather set to continue, Spain remains on high alert. Bethany Bell, BBC News, Malaga.
Well, here in the UK, the government has held an emergency meeting to discuss how to respond to the record temperatures expected to hit parts of the UK next week. A national emergency has already been declared. Our correspondent John Donnison has the latest.
It is without doubt weather for Mr. Whippy. And at Roundhay Park in Leeds, he's been doing a roaring trade.
So yeah, it's been extremely busy. We're just working 12 hours every single day in the heat, and obviously Monday, Tuesday next week it just looks like it's going to be unbearable.
Here we go.
Keeping cool is going to be key, with temperatures expected to reach the high 30s and even 40 degrees C.
Concerned about my dog, so I'm going to get her a paddling pool, try to keep her inside as much as possible. But then also I've got a mother in a nursing home, so that's concerning me. So I've got a meeting today to find out what they're going to do to make sure that the residents are kept cool.
Doctors have warned it's not just the vulnerable who are at risk from such extreme heat. The UK Health Security Agency says a far more moderate heatwave last summer led to over 1,600 excess deaths. And all this comes with hospitals already under mounting pressure because of the recent surge in COVID cases. And there's a particular warning from health officials today that patients shouldn't be left stuck in ambulances in sweltering temperatures while doctors wait for beds to clear inside. But speaking on a visit to the East of England Ambulance Trust today, the new health secretary said the government was prepared.
We're putting in additional capacity, whether it's with call handlers, whether it's the number of paramedics on duty, whether it's extra capacity in 111 as well. So we're putting that additional capacity, and we're working with with hospital trust leaders in terms of where we're able to increase bed capacity on the wards.
At Ogmore Beach in Wales this weekend, people were topping up their tans. But by Monday, in some parts of the UK, it could be 10 degrees hotter than today, and the advice is to stay out of the sun. And forecasters say all this is something we're going to have to get used to.
Scientists believe now that we are going to see more extreme heat, and potentially for a longer period of time. We're 10% more likely now to see extreme heat as a result of climate change and man-made influence.
So the next few days could see records broken and Britain's weather move into uncharted waters. But climate scientists say extreme temperatures in the summer are already becoming the new normal. John Donnison, BBC News.
Well, there's no doubt the temperatures being experienced in parts of Europe are extreme. In Portugal on Thursday, it was 47 degrees Celsius, a record temperature for July. In Spain and Portugal, more than 300 people are thought to have died as a result of the heat. And in southwestern France, more people were forced to evacuate their homes as thousands of firefighters tackled blazes. Meanwhile, here in the UK, the Met Office has issued its first ever red weather warning over extreme heat, saying Britons should expect temperatures to reach 40 degrees Celsius next week, which would be a record. Let's speak now to Dr. Daniel Kamen, a professor at the University of California and a climate change advisor to various US administrations over the last 20 years. He joins us from Berkeley, California. Dr. Kamen, thank you very much for being with us. We hear this extreme heat being attributed in part to double jet streams. Tell us what that is and how they work.
Well, essentially what we have across Western Europe are two high-velocity streams of air, one in the extreme north in the Shetlands, Norway, and one in the south just below Portugal. And that really helps to trap the heat. And what it causes is essentially an amplification of the already heated climate that we're in. We're more than 1 degree Celsius higher than we should be without anthropogenic human-made global warming. And what this is causing is now sort of a focus, a fulcrum or a furnace, I guess, if you will, over Western Europe. And we've now been seeing this for decades. And unfortunately, we expect to see it continuing as climate change gets worse and worse.
As you mentioned, not for the first time, we're being told that these extreme weather events are going to be more common and more extreme. What does the latest science say about how bad these are going to be?
Well, there's two factors going on at once. One is the overall heating, and the second one is the fact that Western Europe is kind of in the crosshairs of this band of extra heat. And this is work that's been going on for some time. There's been some new important papers published by a team from Germany, from the UK, from the United States. And it looks like we are moving into this regime as we get these hotter and hotter climates. And of course, what that also means is that we stress our infrastructure, we stress the least able to respond communities. It's I would say a double whammy. It's climate change then causing additional stresses in the system.
How, in that case, should governments be responding?
Well, I think there's a very simple equation, actually. We just don't seem to want to do it. And that is countries and states, the United Kingdom, California, New York, the US, Denmark, others, that have climate targets to go carbon neutral or net zero. They need to move those forward. In California, our target is to be a carbon neutral economy by 2045. We're debating to move it forward to 2040 or 2035. Same discussions going on in England. The moving off of Russian gas in Germany is also a part of an effort to accelerate their programs. And that is really the only antidote. We need to decarbonize faster, we need to be more aggressive, and we also need to make the most vulnerable the communities we think about first, not about last as we deal with this problem.
You mentioned the most vulnerable. On an international scale, as we know, it's the poorest people in the poorest countries who are worst affected by climate change. But when we have these heat waves in Europe, of course, we panic and we focus on what's going on at home. And as a result, we forget what's happening on the other side of the world. Are these people losing out because we get distracted with what's happening in our own back garden?
Well, I would say we're all suffering. In fact, it's horrible to see the fires in the expensive hills and beach communities in southern Portugal and Spain. This is serious, but it's particularly serious in people who can't afford air conditioning, in communities across East Africa and North Africa, where we're seeing very similar effects to what's going on in the heat waves in Europe. And these are, of course, communities that don't have the technical or the financial capacity to respond. So this is really a case of looking after the most vulnerable first really gets us going to look after everybody. And so I would say this story called The Just Transition is really one of making the climate better for all of us, not just the least well off.
OK, we'll leave it there. Dr. Daniel Cameron from University of California, Berkeley. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.